I'm Mine, and this is set number 70604, Tiger Widow Island from the LEGO Ninjago theme. This set originally released in 2016 as a part of the Ninjago Skybound wave, and contained 450 pieces, 4 minifigures and 1 big fig, and originally retailed for $49.99 in the US. This video is of course a part of my Ninjago throwback review series, so let me know in the comments which Ninjago set you guys would see a throwback review on next week. But with all that being said, let's get into the review. So here is the main build of the set, Tiger Widow Island itself, and now I have always been a fan of location builds. I've much preferred them to like vehicles and whatnot, so when this set came out it was easily probably my favorite of the wave, and taking a look back, yeah, I think I still love it. So let's take a look at it up a little bit closer. Starting at the left side, I guess the idea is this is island sort of coming out of the ocean. So you have this blue rounded piece right here to represent some water, and then this platform coming out of it. That's connected on a mini ball joint to this like longer bridge slash ladder, and that leads up to this grassier platform at the top. And now because there are mini ball joints used, you can move this around a little bit, so that way you can customize it to fit like your specific shelf. You can even raise this part up a little bit higher if you wanted, which I think is a very fun concept to explore. But I always really liked that. I don't know, made it feel more dynamic, more customizable. And like you could even have it in place and just have the bridge itself rotate to make it feel like more dangerous and scary or whatever. I don't know, it's a simple technique, but I think it's a lot of fun. Anyway, this grassy platform up here is rather large, so you can fit lots of minifigures on it, but also specifically it's meant to fit Dogshank up here, so that way you can properly display her on the set if you wanted to. And that is something I do really appreciate, because a lot of times big figs come in sets so there's really nowhere to put them, but they took the care to make sure she was incorporated well here. We also have this palm tree growing out the side. I love the way to design this with like the bush piece and tan coming down, and then obviously the leaf pieces at the top. I think that looks amazing. There's a coconut hanging out of the tree as well as a crab sitting up in the tree, and if you pull out on this Technic piece right here, that tree will actually fall down. So I guess the idea is you'd use that to take out an enemy below, or the enemy could use that to take out the ninja. When I was younger, I found that play feature personally more annoying than fun, but I was a bit on the older side when this set came out, so I definitely wasn't in like the target audience for play features at the time, so I might have enjoyed it more if I was younger. But yeah, I was, what, 14 when this came out? I just found it annoying how the tree would always fall out because the piece held in place would slip out. Anyway, now moving on, we have this little green bridge right here, very thin. You can see there's some spikes coming down. We have this sword right here to represent a spike, and that leads into the main Tiger Widow Island temple. Starting at the base, the actual temple's quite cool because there's a few big ugly rock pieces. There's a little stickered warning sign piece for the Tiger Widow, as well as just some added spikes on the other side. I really like the leaf pieces everywhere. They give the terrain a very natural feel. Like it really conveys this story that like, oh, the ninja just found this in the jungle. This is not like a well-kept area. And then obviously you can see there's this giant skull face right here, which uses these golden wings for eyes, which I think looks really cool. Now there is a play feature with that. If we turn this around to the inside, there's this large Technic piece coming up right here. And the idea is when you push down that, it's supposed to move the skull face down to close it up. Now from my experience both as a kid and now, this never worked the best. I think it does a decent job of pulling it up, but a lot of times you do have to put your finger there to help move it. And then once you have it the way you want it, it does stay in place, but just moving it in the back is not enough. It needs a little push to fall, and it needs a little push to move all the way up. So it's not a perfect play feature, but I'd say it works well enough. So I'm not going to complain about it, just something I noticed. And it might work a little better or a little worse for you depending on how you have the chain positioned. Moving up the temple, you have this printed window piece right here, a few more banners that depict the Tiger Widow, and then at the very top you have yet another play feature. So you can see up here we have 2 more of those like coconut builds, and if you pull this little bar piece out, those actually fall down. So I guess you could use them as a weapon to like drop them on any enemies that come close. Simple play feature, but pretty fun, and you do get extras of those in this set to like restock this. Other than that though, the roof design's pretty standard. Doesn't look amazing, doesn't look bad. It's just fine. I think it's good enough for what it is. But now moving to the inside, on this base floor you just had like this sort of open watery area, and that's where the actual Tiger Widow is meant to be kept because she fits right in there just like this. But we'll take a look at her up closer in a moment. Other than that, you just have a few gold crystal pieces and not much else going on. Above that, I think this area is really cool. You have this little pirate headquarters. There's a map of Ninjago on the wall, a little mannequin head with a pirate hat and a mustache. There's a 5-cent coin on the desk, and then there's a little diagram explaining the way the Jin blades and the Tiger Widow and everything work. So it says the Jin blade can suck in the ninja, you need to get the venom from the Tiger Widow, and then it has a picture of a crystal. I'm not sure what the purpose of the crystal is here, but obviously everything else relates back to the series. Yeah, well that's once again a very cool stickered part. And then you just have a lot of room in here to pose figures. There's also a little lantern at the top, and this could actually swing back and forth. It swings loosely, but it's attached very well to the top. Like that's not gonna fall apart. And I remember at the time people think that this was like a very, very cool design technique, and looking back, yeah, it is. Like that's a lot of fun. It gives a lot of life to the build in a very simple way. It definitely helps make this place feel more lived in. And then moving up once more, here's the back, the top area. Not too much more to show, but there is this green vine piece hanging down, and the idea is one of the ninja can hang onto that to either help climb up the build or to swing on to fight the enemy. I don't know, it's completely up to your your imagination, but that's a fun part to get. But I think that's about it for the main build of Tiger Widow Island. So now let's take a look at the side builds, then we'll take a look at the Dogshank Big Fig, then the minifigures, and then I'll give you my overall thoughts. So here's the build of the actual Tiger Widow, and yeah, this isn't the best. Especially compared to how the Tiger Widow looks at the show, this is nothing like that at all. It's a lot smaller, a lot simpler. But as just a LEGO spider, I think it's fine. I like the use of the samurai helmet at the back. I think that's really cool parts usage that also fits Ninjago really well. The legs are a very basic technique, but obviously done well enough. But yeah, there's not much else to say about it. Fairly simple design and not very show accurate, but at the very least it fits into the temple. So yeah, I think it's fine to help keep the price of the set down, but it's nothing like all too amazing. Then we have this little balloon for Sensei Wu. This is really goofy. I don't know what this was doing here, but it is a lot of fun. It's got a propeller at the back, and that is on a ball joint, so it can be moved around a little bit if you want. And as you just saw, it can spin too. Wu himself does fit into the basket, and there's also room to keep his hat off to the side, which is very nice. But yeah, that's about all I have to say on this. It's cute, it's a fun little build, but nothing all too crazy going on. Now let's take a look at Dogshank, who is the first ever Ninjago Big Fig, and one of what, only 2 that exist to this day? And I think they did a fantastic job with her, honestly. Her torso and legs are kind of simple, they just use the standard Big Fig design, and while their printing is pretty cool, it is on the more basic side, especially comparing it to some of the other Sky Pirates. I do like the touches of silver to make everything look a little more rusty, and the dark red Sky Pirate symbol in the center is very cool. But yeah, there's nothing all too complex going on with her torso, but I still think it looks good. Her eyes, though, are surprisingly very detailed, lots of emotion shown there, and I think the blue really helps them pop. And then, of course, she also has the printed skull on the top of her helmet, which looks quite cool as well. Around the back, she's got these 2 flags coming out of her back. They just have the Sky Pirates logo on them, and they definitely make her take up more space, but they're very easily removable if you want. You just pull out these 2 clips. And then in terms of her accessories, she has this anchor on a chain, which I think fits her pretty well. Yeah, I think this is pretty good for a Big Fig all around. Fairly basic body, but most of the Big Figs at this time had the same exact body. But the helmet design in terms of the mold and everything is very cool, and the printing is done pretty well too. And of course the articulation's the same as every other Big Fig. Legs can't move at all, but the arms can. The arm on this side does have restricted movement because of the shoulder pad, but the arm on the other side can move a full 36 degrees. And Dogshank is exclusive to the set. She was never re-released in any other set, so she was definitely a very exciting one to get. So the first minifigure we're going to take a look at here is Squiffy, and while he himself is not exclusive, he does come with this really cool backpack like flyer attachment. Now similar builds to this came in many of the Skybound sets, but they were all different, and I'd say this one is a pretty good one. Now something kind of interesting that I kind of like that they do, he comes with 2 pistols as accessories, but the idea is you turn them backwards and they sort of serve as handles for the flyer, because while they're not actually connected at all, you can press them up against the wings, so like this it does look very cool. However, you can also just move those out and use them as normal pistols if you want, and that looks very cool as well. The wings have the Sky Pirate logo stickered onto them, and then you also have some of the Sky Pirate swords out the back. I don't think this looks as good from the back as it does from the front, but I still think it works well enough. And there is a little bit of articulation to all of this. The wings themselves can be moved in, as well as the bits of the sword separately, and then you can also just move them together if you want. Here's a look at that from the front. So that way you can pose this and have more dynamic control of like how this looks flying through the air. Removing the flyer attachment though and taking a look at Squiffy up a little bit closer, I mean, I really like this figure. I think the Sky Pirates are really fantastically designed overall, and Squiffy here is no exception. Just the color combination is great with the orange and the dark green and the dark red and a little bit of brown. It all ties together really nicely, fits the vibe they're going for, and doesn't feel too goofy, while also having that somewhat like steampunk type vibe, and also very clearly being a pirate. He's of course got like the little wrap around his head and the eye patch, decent expression on him too, and there's how he looks with his head attachment removed, as well as his back torso print. The figure maybe doesn't do the best job representing this character's personality from the show. However, the figure in the sets is more just supposed to be generic pirate, while the character of the show is more meant to be comic relief, so I do feel like there's a bit of a disconnect there, but as just a generic pirate, which is what he's meant to be, this guy is genuinely pretty good. I'm very happy with him. The next 2 figures of the set are Ghost Skybound Cole and Skybound Nya, and while both these figures were re-released later in 2016, at the time this set came out they were both exclusive to the set, so I was very excited to get them both here, and they are both pretty good. I think I mentioned before, Cole is probably my least favorite of the Skybound suits. I've just never been the biggest fan of gray on Cole. I think he definitely needs more color going on, maybe make the gold in his torso pop more, because yeah, he just feels a little bit boring to me. Not bad by any means, and I do like the Skybound suits overall. Like, especially seeing these 2 next to each other, they look fantastic. But yeah, gray is just not my favorite color for him. However, this was the first ever Cole figure to use the ghost face, and the ghost face is absolutely fantastic. This expression right here, while very similar to the original Cole face, is ever so slightly different, and this expression does feel pulled straight out of the show. The alternate happy expression is not the most show accurate, but it was our first time ever getting happy Cole, so that was also very exciting to see. While we're on the topic of face prints, Nya at the time was still just using generic LEGO City Girl face, and that was so disappointing. I think I've talked about that in a lot of my throwback reviews. But yeah, from late 2015 into early 2017, this was the face print they used for Nya. And obviously that's not accurate. It's not designed for her. It looks terrible. Not sure why they ever did it, but I'm glad we're past it at this point. But the rest of the suit looks really fantastic. Now, this is the only Nya suit to really use dark red as her main color, while other sets have leaned more into the blue. And while she does still have a touch of blue here, she does have a lot of dark red going on. And I think this is actually done really well. I do think blue is a better color for her than the dark red, but if they're going to do the dark red, I think this does it perfectly. The blue's in the center and it really pops. Like, that really helps the suit stand out. Compare that to, like, the gold on Cole. This just seems really boring to me, while this looks amazing. And then the dark red itself is just subtle yet detailed, and I just genuinely think it looks very elegant and nice. And I think it just looks very elegant and nice. Taking the armor pieces off and turning these two around, you can see they both have the wings out the back. Cole's, I think, looks a little bit better than the front of his torso, but still nothing all too special. I do like how the gold is more present here, though. And again, the blue with the dark red looks incredible, and I really like how they carried over her samurai X symbol here. That's a cool callback to see. But yeah, I think that's about all I have to say with these two figures. Overall, pretty happy with them. Oh, and I guess I should also mention the set comes with the Lloyd Jin Blade. Jin Blades were a very fun collectible. It was cool to get, like, the elemental blade pieces again, and the little ninja, like, printed tiles are very cool as well. Lloyd, I do believe, was re-released in another set, but again, at the time, he was exclusive to this one, so that was nice to see. And then the final minifigure in this set, we have Sensei Wu. Now, this Wu suit was not exciting because it came in a lot of possession sets as well as LEGO Dimensions, so I know by the time that this set came out, I had plenty of this figure. But they do mix it up a little bit by giving him a pilot helmet instead of his normal hat. He does still come with his normal hat as well, so you can switch back to that if you want, but this is very goofy to have him in the pilot's helmet. Of course, he has little goggles that can come down. That looks so funny. And then he also comes with little binoculars as an accessory. But swapping that helmet out for the proper hat, yeah, I think this is a pretty good Wu suit. It was definitely very unique from the time, very different from previous Wu suits, which I liked. And I think at the time it was one of the best, but comparing it to newer ones, I don't think it's nearly as good. But obviously things grow and evolve and change over time, so I think for 2015 this was pretty fantastic. And with all the gray and everything, it was at the very least unique. Like, to this day, I don't think we have another Wu suit like this. And comparing that to, like, all the white and gold ones, which we have lots of, this one is a breath of fresh air to look at. Taking a look at the torso print with the beard removed, to me it gives off very, like, elegant yet battle-ready vibes. And I really like the subtle gold detailing, which you can only really see if you shine light on it. That looks really, really nice. And he's got, like, his original symbol in the center there, too. Turning him around, yep, he's got that same symbol in the back, as well as some shurikens back here. Yeah, I think this is all around a very good Wu suit. At the time, it was pretty lame to get a reprint instead of an all-new figure, but the figure itself is pretty good. So, what are my overall thoughts of this set? I like this set a lot. I think it holds up pretty well. Is there things here that could be done better? Yeah, probably. The Tiger Widow could have been better. Some of the play features could have been more thought out, and a few aspects could look prettier. But I think it's fun, and you get a lot here. I remember at the time in 2016 feeling like, oh, this set's a little overpriced. But you know, it makes sense because it comes with Dogshank. But now in the year 2022, this set was a fantastic price. 450 pieces for $50, including a big fig and including 2 other figures that were exclusive at the time and 2 other non-exclusive figures. That's a pretty good deal. So would I recommend this set? 100% yes, I would. No clue how much it goes for the aftermarket. Obviously, if it's too much, it's not worth it. But if it's near or around retail and you're interested in picking it up, I would recommend that you do. This was probably my favorite or second favorite set of the Skybound wave, and I still love it to this day. And I want to see more terrain pieces from Ninjago like this because they are a lot of fun. But those are just my thoughts. Let me know what you guys think of this set in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please press like, subscribe to the channel if you're new. I do LEGO and Ninjago videos just like this one almost every day, so if you subscribe, be the first to see them. As I mentioned at the beginning of this video, let me know which throwback review you guys want to see next week. But as for this way, I think it's about to do it. So thanks for watching, everybody, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye!